So thank you again for joining me, everybody. This is probably the most personal video I will share here, or I've shared to this point anyway on this channel. And honestly, I wish that someone had probably done a similar video to this for me years ago. Before I left America, I wasn't living, I was just functioning. I was grinding, and grinding's okay, but it shouldn't last a lifetime. I was going from sunup to sundown, similar to what my ancestors would have said when they were sharecropping. They would say that they worked from can see to can't see. I was doing everything I thought I should do. Or everything I thought I was supposed to do, everything I could do. You know, you work hard, you pay the bills, you stay productive, and you just keep pushing. But somewhere along the way, I stopped feeling. I became numb inside. I stopped dreaming. You know how we dreamed when we were young, little children, or in our early teens or late teens and into our 20s, but as life goes on, it sort of beats that right out of you, you know what I mean? But I stopped being myself. And I didn't realize it at the time, but a lot of damage had been done. And I found that I was dying inside. Not physically, although I've had some physical challenges that probably could have brought that to bear. Hopefully you guys don't wait until, such an occasion arrives for you. But I was dying inside emotionally and spiritually. And it's getting noisy because it's morning out here and I'm enjoying my second cup. So yeah, when the day gets going, they get going. But that's all good. So for me back in those days, every month felt like the same month. February felt like September. December felt like June. Nothing seemed to change then. And every year felt heavier and heavier. And the worst part of it is that I began to think that was just normal. That was just the way it had to be. Well, I thought that was just life. And that you and everybody else was going through the same thing. And actually, I think some of you are. But that wasn't life. No, that was just survival. It was a slow erosion of what I had inside of me when I was young and when I was vibrant and I allowed that place, America, to tear that right out of me, to wear it down. And I know that I'm not alone. Just like I said, I think many of you, some of you at least, have expressed a similar feeling. You know, that feeling where you're grinding all the time, where you're giving yourself to a system that never gives anything back in return. But I want you to know that leaving America, for me, didn't just change my location. It gave me my life back. The 19th century essayist, Henry David Thoreau, wrote something, and it's become very, very popular, but people only know the first half of it. He wrote, "Most men live lives of quiet desperation." And most people have heard that before. But he went on to write just shortly after that, and it's brief. He wrote, "But they die with their songs still in them." So most men live lives of quiet desperation, and they die with their songs still in them. A quiet desperation is a life that I led and that so many people are living right now. And our lives come to an end having never really sang our songs. It's morning here, so we're enjoying our coffee. That's good stuff. But in that life we live, and I know I lived anyway, I can speak I will speak only to my own experience, because yours, however similar, may in some ways just be different enough that, well, you need to tell your own story too, and I hope that someday you will. You know how it is when you when you wake up in the morning after trying to sleep all night, and you wake up tired, feeling drained. You go to bed drained and you wake up tired after going all day. You want to just crash out into bed, but you wake up and you're still tired. No joy in your day, and all you do is you go from task to task, meeting deadlines, a life and a day filled with obligations. You're answering 1,000 emails. You got this client's called and this fire to put out. Feeling like you're more of a machine than a person. Those nights that you toss and turn most of the night. You ever wake up at like 3 o'clock in the morning, knowing that your alarm clock is going to go off at 6? And please don't, when that happens, don't look at your cell phone to see what time it is. But you wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning and you just toss and you turn, you toss and you turn until the alarm clock goes off, and you drag yourself out of bed and you just start another day because you think that that is the way that life is supposed to be. My friend, it isn't. That is not who we were made to be. That's not the life you were meant to live. But you go through that life as a machine. We all do. Punching the clock, completing the task, but we end up losing, and I know I did. I lost my identity. You forget who you are outside of your job. You go to an occasion, a party, or whatever it is, a cocktail meeting, after hours. And what is the question everybody asks? What do you do? I got so tired of answering that question because what I do is not who I am. It wasn't who I was, but people instantly associate that thing that you do for who you are. I would tell people, okay, they say, well, what do you do? I say, well, I was a project manager. Oh, well, you this and you that. I had a guy not very long ago, just a couple of weeks ago, he said, well, you were a project manager in the States, so you might want to start a business. Why don't we do this? Whoa. I left that, and I'm not interested in going back to it. This coffee is good. I was up in the mountains, up in Constanza, just a couple of days ago. And Constanza, you've probably heard of Jarabacoa, which is like this mountain resort where they have like, hang glide, well, not hang gliding, but zip lining and all these great activities. And that's about an hour from where I am. But if you go an hour further north, further south, but higher into the mountains, you'll come across a town called Constanza, and it's a very agricultural town and great people, just beautiful people. But on my way back, I came back at night and I had to stop to get some coffee because it was late and we were driving. So I thought, why not just get some coffee for the drive? Worst coffee I've ever had. I couldn't even finish the cup, but I was happy to get home to good coffee where life is good. And thanks for joining me, by the way. But anyway, we forget who we are outside of our work. We become defined by that thing that we do. And it just drains us, it pulls on us, and sometimes we don't even know it until, like I said earlier, the damage is done. Our hobbies, the ones that we had, they faded into oblivion. Our relationships, if we have any left, are strained. You notice how when, 10, 20, 30, 40 years ago, you had all these friends and acquaintances that you hung out with, that you knew, but now you've got 2 friends. Some of us are lucky if we have 2 or 1. Our creativity has waned, and in many cases, it has just died, and we become what the systems demands. It demands something from us every day of our entire lives, but it doesn't give us anything that our soul desires. Our spirit is yearning for something more than what we're giving it. Good food, good people, good times. You know what I mean? Well, maybe you do, maybe you don't, but maybe you have to live it to understand it, to know it. I look at the analytics from the channel, and many of you have subscribed, and thank you, by the way. I appreciate your subscribing to the channel. I don't know if what I share resonates with very many people, but it seems to resonate with a certain demographic, and that's those of us who have a little bit of gray hair in our head and a little long in the tooth, and we've experienced a little bit in life. And so most of you are in your 50s and your 60s. And again, thank you for joining me. But our souls desire more than what we're putting out. We're supposed to be taking in something and building not just something outside of ourselves, but something within ourselves. A mental fog develops and maybe a physical decline. I know when I left the U.S., I gained weight. I weighed more then than I had ever weighed before. My sleep habits, like I mentioned before, you toss and you turn throughout the night. And that lack of sleep, maybe we're getting 3-4 hours of sleep, that has an effect on us physically. Yes, it causes us to gain weight. It causes issues with our respiratory system, with our circulatory system, with our heart, with our nervous system. And then this chronic stress that we experience living in a system that takes more than it'll ever give. Anxiety, for me anyway, it became the norm. It's just what I just lived it. And peace peace felt like foreign to me. It was something that I had to seek. It wasn't just there with me all the time. It was no longer a friend or an acquaintance. It was something that I had to seek out. And we shouldn't have to seek peace. Peace is something that I think that we were born to live in. Maybe that's just me. Maybe that's a fairy tale kind of life, but I think that we were meant to live better than that. Yeah, anxiety all the time. And so you ask, and I know I did, is this all there is to life? I mean, I shared with you that I had a heart attack, right? And I told you that it was a pretty severe one. I followed that up not long afterwards with a stroke. And it should have, I should have come to the realization, I guess to some extent I did after I had a heart attack, but I had to have the stroke in order to really seal the deal that I needed to get out. And like I said a minute ago, I hope that you don't wait until you have such an experience before you come to that realization. But I couldn't help asking myself if that was all there is, because there has to be more. There has to be more to just to grind. That can't be all that life has for us. And so I had to do the radical thing. The thing that I had thought about doing way back in the 90s, in the mid 90s. I was married at the time, and my wife at the time, she always looked at me as if I had two heads on my shoulders, right? And so when I said to her that I would like to retire outside of the U.S., all of a sudden she started looking at me as if I had three heads on my shoulders. But she thought I was crazy, but I'm not, and neither are you. Leaving the U.S. for the Dominican Republic is what I decided to do. And the Dominican Republic was not my first choice. I looked at several different places, but I chose here for various reasons. And you might choose another place. You might choose, Ecuador. A lot of people are choosing Panama right now. It seems to be really hot. But the power of changing my environment allowed me to change my mindset. And changing my mindset gave me a level of peace that I just didn't have when I was there. I was letting go of that rat race, and I was able to embrace, I guess you would call it, a slower rhythm, where I'm now dancing to the beat of a different drummer. That's a song from way back, I guess, in the 70s. But I don't dance as fast anymore, and that's okay. That is really okay. I don't get up and I don't feel a need to rush out of my home to go out into the street to do this, that, or a third. I don't feel stressed by anything anymore. Oh yeah, this place isn't perfect. There are some things I wish they would do differently, but I'm not here to change anything. I'm not here to gentrify. I'm here to just live in peace and in harmony with my surroundings, with my environment. But what I've been able to do here is rediscover some of the simpler things that I had lost track of. Just going for a simple walk sometimes. When I was in the States, I was always zipping here and zapping there, taking care of this, running here, running to that, one thing or another, and I just never had time to slow down and just take a walk. I did when I was on disability. When after I had the heart attack, I took a year off, and so I had more time to do that. But then I had to get back to it, and yeah, that was a difficult change to go from that back into that workplace. Cooking at home, when I would get up in the morning, when I was back there, I would grab something unhealthy, mostly, a pastry or something like that, and I'd rush out the door, and I would just grind and, right back into it. But here, I could take more time to prepare a nice, vegetable omelet, and just relax. Oh, I wish I could find decent turkey bacon here, because I don't eat pork. I need to give that up. But turkey bacon, I found some, but they froze it. I'm like, I don't want it frozen, because then I got to thaw it, and once I thaw it, I think I got to cook the whole darn pack, and I don't want to do that. But I got to find that. But anyway, I'm able to slow down and cook for myself as opposed to eating on the run all the time. And I sleep much better. I go to sleep at night, and I just sleep through the night. I wake up and get up when I feel like it. And that's a relief. That's a different way of living. And I'm able to reclaim my health. I said that I weighed when I left more than I had ever weighed before. I've lost now nearly 40 pounds. 40 pounds in less than a year, and I don't do anything special. Yeah, there's a gym right over there. I shared with you the gym in an earlier episode. There's a gym right there, and I go there once or twice a week, but I'll be honest, during this month of October, I don't think I visited the gym once. I would go for a walk every once in a while. Sure, I eat a little bit better because I cook at home more than I did when I was back there in the grind. But I think it's more of an emotional, spiritual thing that has allowed my body to heal more than it was able to do when I couldn't let go of the reins, the reins of these wild horses that I'm trying to steer and keep in the road, but they're always running off the road, and I'm trying to get them back. And that was just the life that I was living. It was always a battle. And being able to do that, I've gotten back. Like I said, I've gotten back a peace of mind, and I'm feeling alive again without having to be as productive. I don't feel like I need to do anything. I do because I want. Develop hobbies, the thing that you want to do, whatever it is you thought you wanted to do. Maybe you used to go fishing more often, but life doesn't allow you to do that more often. Maybe that's what you want to do. Or if you hunt, or like I said earlier, if you collect stamps or baseball cards or whatever you do, go do it. And now I'm living with a purpose without the pressure, and I'm no longer chasing money to survive. You know how it is back there where you are. You're chasing money. You're running after it and running after it and running after it. Why? Because there's someone behind you chasing you for money. So when you catch it, you just give it to the person behind you, that bill collector or that bill collector, the creditors that are all back there chasing you to get money from you, and you're chasing that one or two people that you need to run after to get money from them. And that is just the life that you live. But now I'm living affordable, intentionally, and as I shared with you earlier in a previous video, how I'm living with emotional clarity, with enough. The feeling of just having enough. Not having, there's an abundance actually in enough. Because when you live in a space of enough, there's not scarcity. But when we live in a rat race and in a grind, there's always this scarcity. They create this thing called money that we have to chase, that we have to get, and that they make scarce so that we run after it. And it keeps us in a certain state of mind, a state of mind that I don't believe that we were meant to live in. And so now I'm building a life, and I have built a life that a life where I've drawn the blueprint, not one that's architected or engineered by someone else on Madison Avenue who tried to sell me the American the American dream. The American dread is actually what it is. Because after we've chased it for so long, we end up dreading that we ever heard about it. It becomes a nightmare. And so, if you're feeling the same way, if you felt this way at some point in life, know this: you're not alone. You're not alone. That place, that world that we live in, that industrialized West, it is a place that puts us in like these cocoons. I was talking to someone the other day about how we live in subdivisions, some of us, and when we go home, we pull into our driveways, the garage door goes up, we pull in and it comes down behind us, and we never see outside. And unless we go out to check the mail, we don't really know our neighbors. We live in these cocoons and we feel alone, but I want you to know you're not alone, and you are not crazy for feeling this way. You've been made to feel this way because that's the way they need for you to feel. That's part of the programming, to get you to feel a certain way so that you will act a certain way, but you're not crazy. You're not crazy. You were born to be free. All of us are. No matter our race, color, creed, national origin, preferences of political or religion or any of that, you were made to be free on this planet, on this earth, in this world. And that cannot be taken away from you. It should not be held back from you. So I want you to tell me this, if you could. What would it feel like if you were to be free again? If you were to feel alive again? If you were to able to get out of that place where you are again and to go live that life that you've dreamed of? That good life, whatever it is, because it's important that others hear your message, hear all of our messages, because we're just seeking a free life, or to get free before life ends. And let me finally say this, my fearfully and wonderfully made friends. Again, thank you for joining me. You're meant to live a better life. You're not meant to live a life filled with stress, a life chasing something that has only a value that someone else put on it. You're meant to live a healthier life, one without all the emotional stress, one where your body is healthy, so that you live to be 80, 90, 100 years old. So many of us didn't make it to 60. You know what I'm talking about. You're meant to live that good life. So whatever you're doing, wherever it is you plan to go, or if you plan to stay, know this is your life. So make it a good one. Thanks for joining me. And until next time, be blessed.